Finding nearly 42% of Americans believe that the president should forgive all federal student loan debt. The conservative millennial blogger Ali Stuckey is with us, campus reform media director Cabot Phillips here as well. I guess, Ali, the point would be that, hey, listen, if you tell me I have X amount of debt and someone says you should forgive us, well, yeah, no problem. That's a good idea. But is it an actual good idea for the country? I mean, I could see the person saying, yeah, I don't want the debt, but should we be forgiving student loan debt?
Right. We shouldn't be surprised by this at all, considering that a study came out just a few months ago saying that almost 1/3 of all college students are their student loans to pay for their spring break trips.
Right.
So managing money isn't necessarily at the top of our priority list, but this isn't really something we should be surprised by when we look at millennials or when we look at college students. This is a pattern that we're seeing of deferred responsibility and somewhat instant gratification, shirking responsibility off of our backs into the backs of taxpayers. And it's a consequence, that consequence of shirking responsibility to taxpayers, that I don't think many college students are thinking about.
Boy, that paying for your the spring break trips, that goes in the category of, boy, I didn't know you could do that. Too late now, I guess. But what do you think, Cabot?
I know.
Boy, yeah, good thing. Actually, maybe it goes in the category of good thing I didn't know you could do that, because probably you shouldn't be doing that.
We've got, I think that number of students who did that's going to go up now that they heard about this idea. So thanks,
they're looking
at just increase the number of students.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks to me.
But what do you think, Cabot, of this idea?
Let that slip.
It kind of brings us back to the campaign where there was all this talk about free college, right? In some ways, it was like these proposals from Bernie Sanders, and I think Hillary Clinton jumped on board at some point and said, hey, that should be an initiative, either free college or free community college. It's in that category, I think, to some degree, of forgiving student loan debt.
This is a mentality that we've seen growing more and more, specifically on college campuses, as we've reported at Leadership Institute's Campus Reform, how students are now being taught that any problems they have, whether personal or financial, the answer is the federal government. The government needs to come in and do away with all of their problems. That's a dangerous mentality, and so many of these students on college campuses now say, we're adults, treat us like adults, until being treated as an adult doesn't benefit them.
Right,
and in this case,
pay back money or whatever, the real life things. Yeah,
exactly. Adults honor contracts. Adults can't just do away with any problems by saying, well, the government will help me out. Adults have to honor their contracts, keep their word, and these students, it's important for them to learn this lesson early on of personal responsibility and being true to the things that they say they're going to do.
I wonder if there's another way. Maybe if the answer is no, that's fine, but if either of you have a suggestion, is there another way to tackle college affordability that makes more sense? All right. Hold on, Cabot. Obviously, he's chomping at the bit here. He's got it. So go ahead. Give it to us.
Just wrote an op-ed this week.
Go ahead.
That we're going to be publishing. Senator Marco Rubio and Todd Young just put forward a bill that would increase the ability of income share agreements, and it would legitimize the practice where essentially students can go to private investors and organizations that will agree to pay for their tuition completely, and in return, 5 years after graduation, those students will begin to offer a small portion of their salary back to those investors. So if the student drops out of college and says it wasn't for me,
would that be available to all income, people of low income, middle income?
Absolutely.
Everybody.
It will create a system of meritocracy where students become completely indebted to the government and to other financiers.
Does that sound better, Ali, than what we've been forgiving debt?
It absolutely sounds better, and there are other options on the table right now as well. Trade school is something that is completely undervalued, but should be something that's talked about more, and an option that's really on the table for a lot of people. Actually, in addition to that, you can work through school. You can go to school and not major in something like gender studies. You can go to grad school and not choose to go to a field of study like archaeology. You can choose what path you want to go in that's actually prudent and actually sets you up for success. But what we're seeing, back to that idea of instant gratification and deferred responsibility, is that young people just want to do what's convenient for them and what makes them most happy. The fact of the matter is that bettering yourself by going to school does come at a cost. And like Cabot said, you have to be willing to pay that price.
It's okay, Ali. By the way, I'll just be forwarding the archaeology and gender studies emails to you directly, if that's all right from now on.
Yes, thank you so much. I'll deal with them personally.
Cabot, Ali, thank you very much. Good discussion from both of you. Thanks a lot. Now, could the president's feud with CNN, you may have heard about it, could it have some business impact, maybe threaten AT&T's possible merger with Time Warner, which is CNN's parent company? Gasparino's been working on that, and he is coming back. He'll have the latest on it after a quick break.